I ain't gonna lie, what's good, y'all boys? Today we're reacting to why Broly versus Asura isn't even close. I ain't gonna lie, I never thought this would be a versus battle, but hey, man, it's a pretty interesting one to be honest with you. I ain't gonna lie, but yeah, people. I've been posting videos. I've been getting back on track type shit, man. I ain't gonna lie with the YouTube shit, bro. Stay on track, stay grinding, man. Regardless of whatever the situation may be, just stay on track, stay grinding. So I was about to just not go to the gym at all. Today was arms and back. But you know what? Guess what, nigga? I got a gym in my crib. Not in my crib, but like the plaza or the apartment gym. So either way, a dub is a dub. No cap. No Casey. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, let's get to the video. Too much talking, man. I'm not talking a lot. You might see me move because my dude's gonna come in and the bullshit, whatever this and the third. But yeah, if I move, it's not really that big of a deal. It's just
when it comes to angry and savage characters, few characters can outshine the rage level showcased by Asura from Asura's Wrath, a Buddhist twist God of War-esque game that follows this multi-armed godslayer through every level of creation in his quest to rescue his daughter and get revenge. And of course, another wrathful character is Broly from the iconic series of Dragon Ball Z, who managed to eviscerate the South Galaxy, slap around
nigga Broly's a fucking psychopath. Yo, and that's the thing. I've been hearing that he destroyed a whole galaxy. So where the fuck did this nigga Broly go? And how the hell did he find these niggas, Goku, Gohan, Trunks, and etc.? Cause it's not adding up. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's been not adding up, man.
Multiple Super Saiyans, and survive in other media to the point he unlocked further evolutions to his already unfathomable power. But what if both of these war machines had to duke it out in combat? Would the victory be given to the legendary Super Saiyan or the demigod of wrath, Asura? Before we begin, I'd like to quickly plug in my Patreon, which gives you early access to videos, and my Discord server, which I should be setting up soon. We'll begin with the deity among Saiyans, Broly, who in a restricted Super Saiyan state, was able to erase entire sectors of the South Galaxy, which is not a singular galaxy but an infinite galaxy cluster, already making this nerfed Broly multi-solar system to multi-galaxy levels depending on how much damage you think he did and how quickly. After his father Paragus loses control of him and we hear some epic-ass Pantera in the background, Broly unleashes his true power and becomes the legendary Swole Super Saiyan, who proceeded to bully 4 Super Saiyans and a Super Namekian, only to be beaten by some unironic 1,000 times energy boost that Goku is implied in guidebooks to have received.
I could have sworn he did Dragon Fist on him in this scene, bro. But I could be wrong. But I swear to God he did Dragon Fist to him in this scene. But again,
upon channeling the energy from the rest of the Z Fighters. Broly's power is certainly one of the biggest attributes about him, and so much so that Takao Koyama, a screenwriter for the Dragon Ball Z series and movies, stated that Broly was undoubtedly the strongest movie villain within the original 13 movies, due to him appearing several times, and to him, only Beerus in the Battle of Gods movie made him seem like a pushover. As I covered in my Dragon Ball Z movie villains video, I believe it is more consistent that Janemba is like the strongest movie villain, but there is certainly an argument to be made for Broly being the top dog, given that other material regards Broly as the strongest character in the entire franchise, including Super Saiyan Vegito and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Regardless, legendary Super Saiyan Broly easily scales in the multi-galactic to universal levels, due to it being stated numerous times that he would go on to destroy the infinite living universe. His speed is even more impressive, at the very least massively faster than light, and arguably infinite, if you scale him to Son Goku's feat of traveling from the Grand Kai's planet all the way down to Hell, which is several heavens distance apart, with heaven already being as large as the universe. We can inflate his speed even more if you think that by Takao Koyama's intent, he would scale above Metacooler, who was fast enough to fight with Goku in the middle of instant transmission, with it being confirmed in guides that this space transcends time itself, already giving these characters immeasurable speed. You can certainly argue that Metacooler's speed is unique to him and no other movie villain scales to it, but for those that do think the movies are connected in one way or another, we can apply this for Broly. It gets even more insane when you realize that Broly in Super Dragon Ball Heroes was scaled to Capsule Corp Goku, who managed to fly from the prison planet to the Grand Prix planet, which is in another dimension altogether, which is outright confirmed in guidebooks as well. Speaking of heroes, Broly showcases what it means to be a legendary Super Saiyan, as he does a lot of insane. If his power as a normal legendary Super Saiyan wasn't bad enough, he can amplify his
Dragon Ball Super is still going. Also, I'm seeing Super Saiyan 4 Broly and another a black bro. I'm like, I ain't Broly. I ain't gonna lie. It's not. But another bro, it's like I gotta peep. By the way, who knows about Tenkaichi Budokai, man, or whatever the fuck that game is called? I forgot it was on PS3 or PS. I don't know. Who knows about this Broly right here? Come on, man. Yo, I swear to God, when I was a kid, bro, on elementary school, I used to look at videos of this nigga SSJ Broly times 445 up against God Goku level whatever SSJ like all that bullshit, bro. I swear to God, bro. Like that shit was man, those are the times, man. Those are the times, bro. No cap.
Powers even further with Super Saiyan 3, Legendary Great Ape, Super Saiyan 4, and the Dark Dragon Balls, which allowed him to keep up with Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Goku, who by merely transforming could have affected time in the entire multiverse. Within the Heroes promotional anime, he achieves an even stronger form called Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Limit Breaker, which in itself is a huge enough boost that it gave Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Goku enough power, who was just slightly below Super Saiyan Blue Goku, to being about on par with Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. At this point, he was so strong that the only way to showcase his big energy was to have him fight another Vegito at the same time, and come to think of it, I think that's the first character we've seen that does that. Within the Heroes games, far weaker characters such as the Migra and Silas were already confirmed to be existential threats to the multiverse, and Beats World, which sees the game as fiction. With said multiverse having 3 infinite sets of history, the book from beginning to end, also known as the official history, the parallel quest, and the crack of time, which is composed of time crystals, and we have 4 infinite sets of timelines if you count the additional set, which was made by Few in the Xenoverse 2 DLC. It is very likely that Xenoverse and Heroes shares a cosmology, among many other concepts. As a producer for Dragon Ball Heroes, Higuchi Wataru admitted that he worked alongside the Xenoverse team in development. Not to mention the series have outright collaborated with each other several times. Case in point, due to the extra-dimensional nature of the Dragon Ball game's cosmology, this automatically bumps up Broly to 5D at least, likely 6D to 8D, going by how characters can affect Beats World, which sees the arcade game as fiction, how the afterlife transcends dimensions as stated in the Daizenshu 4, and how time crystals are much larger than time scrolls, which contain timelines, and such could be argued to be larger dimensional constructs. What's more, fictional Japan, which sees Beats World as fiction, was being threatened by mere Saiyan Saga characters. There's yet another fictional transcendence called the Charisma World, which sees that fictional Japan as fiction. No one so far really scales to this existential level, but it is confirmed that Goku did go through all dimensions with the Charisma Avatar. Whether that means that Goku went through the Charisma World itself and fought alongside the Avatar is up to interpretation, but if we scale Broly to Goku, then a similar argument can be made for him yet having another dimensional transcendence, making him 9D, aka mid-complex multiversal. You can get this dimensional transcendence even higher if you think that Broly scales above Arali and Beerus, with the former being able to manipulate her narrative, and the latter being beyond those gag powers. Either way, whether you want to go with this higher end scaling is up to you, but I think it is clear as day that Broly is at least low complex multiversal, and has immeasurable speed with the Dragon Ball Heroes and Xenoverse scaling. Not to mention that he has access to Dimensional Domain and overpowered ability in the Heroes games, which immensely lowers an opponent's stamina. So now that we have covered the legendary Super Saiyan, how does Asura hold up against this worthy contender? Asura's journey in the game begins with him being one of the 8 Guardian Generals of Emperor Estrada, who were tasked with defeating waves of Goma, or essentially the evil antibodies of Gaia, or the Earth equivalent in this verse, which lashes out at anyone, whether they be immortal or god. After managing to damage and hold back the onslaught of Goma Vlitra, a continent-sized serpent head, Asura is praised for his efforts and is sent to meet with the Emperor, but unfortunately it turns out that the Emperor was slain, and Asura was left marked as a traitor by his former brethren in arms. With his wife killed and his daughter Mithra being kidnapped to serve as a mantra energy source, with mantra being the life energy of the verse, which you could think of as Ki from Dragon Ball, Reiki from Yu Yu Hakusho, or spiritual pressure from Bleach, Asura's rage started to seep out and he set out to face off against a treacherous group he had fought alongside for countless years. Unfortunately, he was way too weak and was defeated quite easily by Deus, the leader of the Guardian Generals. But as he fell through Gaia's sky, he vowed that he would have his revenge, and that he would. Asura ends up waking on Araka, or the verse's equivalent of Hell, which is stated to having endless pillars, in which he is met with a golden spider that questions his motives and tells him that he sees a great power within him that he has been yearning for. As he begins to recollect his memories, he ascends through the seemingly never-ending pillar, until he eventually reaches the living world and sets out to slap around the gods that betrayed him 12,000 years ago. His first opponent was Wyzen, who had grown much more powerful since the first time we saw him, and he even unleashes a gigantic form that made him rival the size of Gaia itself. And with a mighty push of his finger, he set out to squash Asura.
Whenever I saw, I never I don't know much about Asura. Oh, that's bullshit. No. I know like a little bit. I used to watch some of it when I was a kid, but I never understood it because I just saw Street Fighter, this, and then I just did this. So it's like I know like a tiny bit. Whenever I saw Buddha or the Wukong and shit. So that's another thing too. The monkey and shit, whatever. Whenever I saw this shit, like the thing pushing his finger down, bro, boy, unless you're like a million times stronger than this thing, bro, nigga, that shit is going to crush you, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. But then again, it's Asura, so I ain't gonna. He's not ain't gonna crush shit. That boy's going it's like shit. So yeah.
Like a bug. But unfortunately for Wyzen, Asura wasn't about that. So with a barrage of consecutive punches, breaks his arms, but causes immense damage to the Leviathan. Then finally, Asura charges up his final punch, which manages to eviscerate and pulverize one of the 7 deities with ease. But then the worst thing imaginable happens. Asura basically gets jumped by his brother-in-law Yasha and gets cut down with precision, sending him back to the clutches of Naraka once more. Asura awakens even further into the future and was out for blood as he manages to effortlessly crush Kauro, one of the 7 deities, and even manages to defeat his former master, August, who extended his sword all the way to the ends of the earth from the moon to fight off against him. Although Asura lost his arms in the scuffle, he manages to grab the legendary blade which was only sheathed against Deus once before, with his mouth, and mortally slashes his scarlet-marked mentor. You'd think that after overexerting himself he would be out for the count, right? But nah. He actually decides to clench his sword with his teeth and sets out to fight against an entire Goma army. Unfortunately, after defeating them, the girl he met at the village was essentially drone-striked America style by the deity's warships, which unleashed Asura's Berserker mode, which looks very akin to Naruto's tailed beast forms. In this state, he becomes so powerful that he manages to contest against the Brahmastra's beam, the Brahmastra being the Karma Fortress's magnum opus, a deadly mantra weapon of unimaginable power that was meant to fight against the fury of the Vlitra serpent. Fortunately, after having a change of heart and opening his eyes, Yasha decides to divert the beam by kicking the fortress, essentially saving Asura's life in the process. Yasha then goes through with his mission to do what is right by confronting Deus and contesting his ideologies and decisions to sacrifice so many human lives for the quote-unquote better good. In the end though, Asura didn't really care. He didn't know how to save the world, but what he did know was that he had to give Deus them hands for what he did to him all those years ago. Deus, however, was so strong that both Asura and Yasha had to tag team him to the point that he had to fuse with the Karma Fortress itself and became Sakra Devanam Indra Deus. But even that massive machine's might was
whatever the fuck that means.
left dismantled by Asura's wrath as he manages to defeat the leader of the deities once and for all. But before he could reconcile with his daughter, Goma Vlitra awakens and reveals that it has grown far stronger since last time and is adorned with many flaming serpentine heads and limitless mantra levels. Yasha and Asura, luckily enough, were so strong at this point that they could withstand a point-blank blast from the titanic beast. Mithra then decides to amplify their mantra levels, which helps Asura reach his mantra form, and alongside Yasha, manages to overwhelm the Vlitra core, the true form of the Leviathan antibody. Everything seemed all good at the end, but it is revealed that the golden spider that helped Asura remember who he was none other than Chakravartin, the grand creator of the universe and by extension, Naraka as well, with him stating that he would rebuild the world or universe and start anew. With the help of the mantra reactor from the Karma Fortress's heart that had accumulated trillions of souls, Asura evolves into his largest and strongest form yet, Asura, the Destructor. With him being so fast in this state that he manages to react to multiple of Chakravartin's energy beams that could cross from the center of the Milky Way galaxy to Gaia in under 25 seconds, casually making him several billions of times the speed of light, assuming that the center of the Milky Way galaxy is over 25,000 light years away from Gaia, using the Earth's distance as a model. On his journey to the gigantic golden god, Asura destroys multiple stars and even a hypergiant meteor, and at last manages to crumble the creator's avatar with a mighty punch, seemingly ending the battle. But instead of continuing the scuffle, Chakravartin extends a hand to Asura and says that his power is worthy of being given the mantle of Gaia itself. But instead of making peace with this tricky Asura refuses and forces Chakravartin to pull up in his true form. However, Chakravartin was so strong in this state that he manages to de-transform this buffed Asura into his base form. And you think he'd be screwed at this point, but nah, even then, Asura's power and rage grew so much and so fast during the fight that he manages to not only contest with, but outright defeat the Architect of Existence in his base form, only to die in the process. Because at the end of the day, these deities need mantra to survive, so if you kill the crafter of the elixir of life in the universe, it only makes sense that you would perish as well. But don't feel too bad for Asura, as he was able to complete his mission and free his daughter from a seemingly endless prison, with her living on to tell the tale of her father's misadventures, legend, and wrath. So now that we have gone over Asura's accolades, just how strong is he really? Since his battle with Chakravartin destroyed a dimension and it was stated that Chakravartin would destroy existence itself, most likely including Naraka, this would make Asura at least low multiversal in attack potency and durability, with massively faster than light combat speeds, but arguably infinite speeds if you think that Naraka truly does have endless pillars, and by extension would have an endless or infinite depth. If Asura was able to traverse this infinite space in his base form, then it is unfathomable how fast he would be with his further power growth and transformations. In terms of the Dragon Ball Z movie's Broly and Asura's matchup, I believe that Asura would come out on top due to having superior attack potency.
I'm saying I'm hearing so much shit about Asura. I only heard a little bit about. Let me not say that, bro. I probably wasn't listening as much to Broly as Asura, so I could be a little biased.
Potency, durability, and arguably speed. But as I mentioned earlier, if you want to scale Broly to the Afterlife Saga Goku speed in the filler or Metacooler speed in the movies, then you can certainly argue that Broly, despite probably being outmatched in raw power, would have a good chance in the speed category. But even then, if Asura was being blitzed, I feel that he would be able to grow in power and speed quick enough to make up for the drawback and usurp the legendary Super Saiyan eventually. If the debate is Dragon Ball Super Broly, then I believe that the battle would certainly be more in Broly's favor, given that he would scale massively above low multiversal characters like Battle of Gods arc Super Saiyan God Goku. And going by the manga, it is fair to say that Broly would likely blitz Asura, since he would have inaccessible speed, a level of speed achieved by moving through a timeless void, a feat which base Goku Black Art Goku performed and thus is superior to infinite speed, since infinite speed relies on time, while inaccessible speed does not. Even if Asura's destructor form amplified him by billions of times or some other insane number, he would still be inaccessibly slower than Broly. Now, if we're discussing Dragon Ball heroes, I think it is very easy to see that Broly would stomp even harder. Not only is the Dragon Ball heroes cosmology much larger than the one in Asura's Wrath, but even assuming that they had similar base powers, Broly has the outright superior transformations, speed, and hacks at his disposal that he would wash the God of Wrath with ease. Even if you wanted to argue that Asura would quickly grow in power, it is ridiculous to think that he would jump not one, but several dimensional layers to reach Broly's own transcendence. But yeah, there you go. Please let me know who you think wins, and I hope that you enjoy.
VID. So certain universes, or certain Broly universes, Broly wins, but in this just in itself, Asura wins. Okay. The fuck? That's funny. I finally realized that this nigga is beating, trying to kill Goku because of crying. The fuck, like, bro. Yeah, I agree with that too. I fuck with that. Well, W stream or WVID. I'm sorry.